Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser and we are modelling for Advantage. Later on in today's show we'll have a few features. We're going to have Johnny B and his thoughts on the Warhammer preview we saw over the weekend. I'm going to talk very briefly about the updates we've had coming out of Battlefront in relation to Flames of War, and we're going to have a feature on the progress we've been making for Warcry. In last week's video, we had Kelso on the show, and he schooled me in how Underworlds is supposed to be played, because even though I won the game in the end, I think he deliberately let me do that so he could explain the endgame scoring mechanics more fully and show how it changed the results. Coming up next week, or in fact later this week, we've got an update on some of our naval wargaming progress, which will be an unboxing of Warlord's Cruel Seas. Over the weekend, we had some news from Warhammer. It was the third of their previews. This one was delayed because of the Easter holiday, but this is all the stuff that they said that they were planning to show us at Adepticon, I think. The thing that interested me, I didn't find any of the models or the new games particularly spoke directly to me with the armies that I play and the systems that I play, but I'm very interested to see where they go with all these movies and TV franchises. And it looks like they're exploring several different avenues simultaneously to kind of learn about that creative industry and maybe develop some of them more than others. We'll see how that goes. In relation to the miniatures and the other games, here's a few thoughts from Mr. Johnny B.
Oh my, boys and girls, did you see that preview yesterday? Oh, Johnny B's a happy man. For once, he's got something in common with one of the products. Small, scrawny, pretty damn useless. Yes, that's right, snotlings. Oh yeah. I love me a snotling or two, and I love playing Blood Bowl too. So I'm going to be getting me some of those when they's out.
One of the companies that I've been following closely during this lockdown phase is Battlefront, Flames of War stuff. They've done a Twitch Q&A with the chief exec, which was interesting. They had some prepared content that they wanted to show about their scheduled releases, which are going to be delayed. And I think the next book that they're doing is the WAF and SS, but we've still got the tail end of some of the British release, I think, for D-Day, and all of that's kind of been delayed. Although they are still delivering from their distribution centre here in the UK, their manufacturing side is closed down, so nothing new, and all the development work has kind of stopped in terms of manufacturing. But they did give us a bit of an indication, because it was a Q&A Twitch session with the chief exec. He was fairly frank and open about things that they were going to do, and a lot of the questions that people answered, the answer was just no, we're not planning to do that anytime soon. But even stuff that he thought was maybe 2 years down the line, he was willing to share. In relation to tanks, they have signed some kind of deal with World of Tanks, and looks like they're going to repackage their game and rebrand it and maybe change it a little bit. I'd be interested to see how that goes, and that's something we'll be following on the channel quite closely, because I'm a big fan of small skirmish games and I love tanks. So on to the main feature, let's talk about Warcry. Some of the guys from the show have made some contributions to what they've been up to. So first of all, let's have a look at Mr. James Workshop, the original James Workshop, mind you. Let's hear it, James.
Hello, I'm James Workshop, here for Modelling for Advantage. I'm just here at my painting table. Oh god damn it, you don't tidy up for 5 minutes. Hello, this week is Warcry week. The Restless Kaiser has asked us to give him a little bit of an update of what we've been working on. I've been working on a few little bits. I'm really looking forward to seeing what other people have been working on as well. But without further ado, here's what I've been up to. The first thing that I'll show you is the Gloomspite Gits. So I specifically got these because I wanted to have a very squig heavy team. Here we can see one of the Boingrot Bounders, I believe they're called. Fantastic names on this team. I painted these quite simply. I wanted to get them done fairly quickly, as usual. 2 AM, best time for painting. Here I have, you know what, I can't remember what these are even called. These might be the Boingrot Bounders and the other guys are just squig hoppers. But this is my leader. I've painted them red for the squigs and then green for the gobbos, as is standard. So you'll have seen those guys on a game of Warcry that we had, but I've since added some new models. I've added some netters. I've added 2 arrow boys. No, that's the orc version. You know what? I'm not great with names. And I've added one with a spear. Yeah, so that's the Gloomspite Gits. Also, I've been working on some Iron Golems that I got all the way back when the kit first came out. I've gone for quite a bright colour scheme on these guys, partly to do with recording. We're normally recording on quite a dark board, so I went for a bright yellow scheme, and same with basing the other Gloomspite Gitz team. I've gone for quite a sandy base to contrast there. I didn't want to paint these too complicated either. I've painted them partially in sub-assemblies, as you'll see from the big old ogre that we've got going on here. So it's much easier to paint them. I did see that they were quite complicated kits. So yeah, that's the Iron Golems. Another team that I don't even think the Restless Kaiser knows about yet is the Beasts of Chaos team that I've been working on. I wanted to fit in some of the absolutely fantastic models that they released for Beast Grave, which is quite a fun game that I enjoy. They're absolutely gorgeous models, so I thought I could build a team around them. Once upon a time, I was going to build an Age of Sigmar army that was made out of my absolute favourite models from the range, which is the Dragon Ogres, as they're called now, Dragon Ogres. So I've built one of each of the different weapon options, so I can test them all out. I'm thinking the 2 close combat weapons is best. And I also have a Minotaur, which I have as my leader. The Minotaur with the 2 close combat weapons, because frankly, the one with the big the big smashy weapon doesn't work. So that's my teams. Please excuse the 2 headless fellas, and that's what I've been working on.
Don't forget, folks, if you like what we're doing, to click the like button down there, to subscribe to us, or even to leave us a comment. We're pretty good with getting back on comments. If you've got a question or something you want to say, let us know. So one of the things that I've been doing in relation to Warcry is, and in relation to a lot of the games that we play, is kind of looking at other things that I have got sat in boxes lying around that would allow us to develop the quality of those games and those experiences. And one of the things that I had not got around to doing was to paint in some of the fantastic beasts, I think they're called fantastic beasts, that are in Warcry. There's 2 types of chaotic beasts that appear in the Warcry starter set. One are called Raptorics, which I don't think appear anywhere else, and the other are Furies. So while we've had a little bit of time over the Easter holidays, I went off and painted my Furies. I wanted to do the Furies first because I can use them in my 40k Nurgle Demon army, and knowing that my Nurgle Demon army is in fact a Nurgle Demon army, I wanted them to fit in with that aesthetic. So when you get these, if you buy this particular kit, you get 6 Furies, and it's 2 each of 3 models, which is a little bit of a shame. If you've got a 5 or 6 man, I think they come in 5s in 40k. If you've got a 6-man unit or 5-man unit, it's a shame having 2 identical ones. So you might see better on the still than in my hands. One of the things I did was to paint them slightly different colours. There's still the flesh, the horns, all that kind of thing is the same, but I just painted the wings different. One of them's got wings in Rakkar's flesh, one of them's got wings in the Death Guard green. It's not a huge difference, but it's maybe just a little bit of visual difference, and they fit in well with the rest of my Death Guard and Nurgle Demons, because I've used the same colour palette, which is something I try to do fairly consistently with an army that may have several different elements in it, to try and make it all look like a coherent force. My kind of tabletop ready minimum standard wash and dry brush approach to painting means uniformity of colour palette is really important, because it's the overall visual effect rather than the specific miniature which is going to give you that wow factor. Might be a little bit strong, but it's going to give you that strong visual aesthetic. So I painted the Furies up, got 6 of these, so we are able to do some missions that involve those without having some grey plastic on the table. They were fairly straightforward to paint. They were a little bit tricky to put together if you get these. Not an immense modelling challenge, but there are lots of kind of finicky small pieces and some mould lines in difficult places. But 2-3 colours, a Thonian camo shade wash and a little bit of a dry brush, and these bad boys were on the table. Always the keen hobbyist, Johnny B has been working very hard on his Warcry warband. He got the Conan type dudes, I can't remember what they're called, Unmade Beasts, something like that. So let's have a look at what Johnny B's been up to in the bunker.
Hello sausages, Warcry week. So maybe let's get in there and have a little look at the beasts, the untamed beasts. Boop. Yeah, here we go. First of the untamed beasts. This is one of the plains runners, one of 3. I put them on clear bases because then they can pretty much fight on any battlefield and merge in. But that got me thinking, why would I do that when I can just have no bases at all, you see. And then I can move them around and they can hide under things and jump up things, which is great. And then I thought, well, why am I even painting them? You can't really tell where they are on the board. So I've left my leader dudes this colour here, sun bleached. You know, it helps them really stick out on the board. And then I thought, well, hang on a second, why don't I just do them moon dust grey, I think we'll call it. Yeah, moon dust grey. Now this gives me a real edge on the battlefield, you see, because I can position the legs on any objectives or anything like that, but still have a 3-inch whoop, 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 whoop attack with the whippy whip thing. So yeah, and the dog is in 2 halves, so it can certainly cover more of a field. But yeah, there you go, there's the Untamed Beast. Boop. So there you go, guys, that was the Untamed Beast. I hope you like what you see there. Hopefully they'll be taking the field soon. They're pretty much done there, so I'm just going to leave it as is and get them on the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Back to you, Mike.
Interesting, Johnny B. Hoping to see these guys on the table soon. So the other thing that I did was to upgrade one of the warbands. I have 2 Warcry warbands. One is the Corvus Cabal, which is just straight out of the box. It's a little bit of a shame because I would like to expand that warband a bit, but I don't want another set of identical models. So it may be that some of the Chaotic Beasts or some of the unique characters is perhaps the way for me to go, to mix it up a little bit so it's not the same force every week. I really would like another one of the big crow fellas, but I just don't want another identical model in a 10 model game. So my second warband is the Nighthaunt, which is mostly what Johnny B has been playing, and we've been playing those with the card pack that came out with the original release. I think it was a $5, but they have upgraded them. They released this box, and with it we get the opportunity to use the Merman Banshees. In this kit there's actually 2 models that I didn't have access to. One is the Extoller of Shyish and the other is the Ghast Reapers, and it also allowed me to use Merman Banshees, which I got from the Storm Strike set. So this I thought was a useful kit. I mean, it was about 30 quid, and if you've already got a load of Nighthaunts, it'd be a bit of a shame to have to buy this to get it. And I think you might be able to buy them separately, but I didn't have most of these models, and it's a pretty good starter warband, especially if you've already got the chain rasps from something like More Realms for 2 quid. So I have already started building these, so they're not all here. But what you get in this kit is 4 Merman Banshees, 4 Glaive Wraith Stalkers, 4 Ghast Reapers, and the Extoller of Shyish, and then 7 unit cards. Get a little bit of paper telling you how to make them. The sprues for the Ghast Reapers and the Extoller Shyish, they're fairly open-ended sprues. They're quite wispy. I haven't yet put these together. These are the only models that I didn't already have. But you can see the guy with his big magic bell there. Looking forward to that. And then you also get little tray, dice tray, whatever, bases for these models, and this little card pack. I'm doing this here because I didn't feel it was worth doing a separate unboxing, to be honest. It does only relate to the channel. We do get some tokens, which is nice because you didn't get that with the other warbands in the original release. And this is actually quite thick grey board, if you can see that. They're not as glossy as the tokens that came with the start set, but they are perhaps a little bit more sturdy. So that's nice because you're getting them bespoke to your warband. And if you didn't buy the starter set, you won't have these. So that's nice. The base is in there, as I say. You get your unit cards in millions of different languages. So I will just find the English one, hopefully. Oh, interestingly, this seems to be the same card as we had before, and it doesn't have the Merman Banshee on it. It may be that I am going to be disappointed by these cards. Oh no. Now I get to the actual deck. She's top of the list. Alright, so just having a quick look. These are the same cards as we'd had previously, the 80-point chain rasp. Yeah, these are the same. But the models that we've got in this particular set then, I'll just separate those out. You didn't get the Spirit Host, which is a shame because he's the big beastie. It's not an expensive, I think it's about £15 for 3 of them. But the fact that you only want one and you're going to have to go away and buy it separately, that's a bit of a shame. So, the models that come in here then, at the bottom of the pile is the Glaive, Wraith, Stalker. Had these before. These are 120 points, which makes them 50% more expensive than the Chain Rasp. They only have 3 attacks at strength 3, and they do 1 and 3 damage with the spear, and they have no unique rune mark. They just fly. I think these are grossly overpriced for what they do, to be honest, compared to Chain Rasps. They're a lot tougher than Chain Rasps, but they're not fighty enough. I'm not sure that that extra toughness is worth it. We did already have these, played with these a little bit. Next up, 135 points, the Grim Ghast Reaper. So compared to the Glaive, Wraith, Stalker, he's still got a range 2 attack, 3 attacks at strength 3, but he does 1 and 4 damage. So that crit is an extra point of damage. He's got 6 move instead of 5. So you're getting quite a lot for that extra 15 point. He also has access to a particular rune mark, which I'm going to try and match up. These rune marks look very, very similar to one another. I believe it is this one, the double soul marked prey. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 3 inches of this fighter with 1 or more damage points allocated to them until the end of the battle round. Add 1 to the strength of attacks made by friendly fighters that target that fighter. A fighter cannot be picked to be the target of this ability more than once per battle. So that's kind of marking out a model that's already wounded within 3 inches of one of these. Everybody gets +1 strength. This model has got 3 strength, and a lot of this warband has got 3 strength, so I think that's actually quite a useful ability, and it's only on a double, so that's really going to help your kill potential, I think. I like this model a lot. There's 4 of them in here, or potentially 5 if you don't need the Extoller Shyish. Next up, the Extoller Shyish then. So he's a second leader option. He has the leader rune mark and the fly rune mark. Unlike the Chain Rasp dude, this guy's got 20 wounds at toughness 5 and move 6 for 195 points. He's a bit more expensive, but he's a lot more fighty. 3 attacks, strength 3, that do 2 and 4 damage. I mean, you probably don't want to be going to town trying to belt people with this guy, but he's a lot tougher than the Chain Rasp one, and unless you've got a particularly niche plan for your leader, there's a lot of missions which are like kill the leader or kill a particular model. It's worth having this guy, I think, over the other one for the extra few points it costs. I'll just double check actually in the other pile. I think it was 150. Yeah, it was 150. So for 45 points, you get an extra 4 wounds, an extra point of toughness, an extra point of movement. Oh, but you lose the Chilling Horde rune mark. So there is an ability that the Chain Rasp guy has that this fella doesn't. I'm not sure it makes that much difference. And then, last of all, the new model, the Merman Banshee, which is the one reason I went out of my way to get this. So she moves 6, is toughness 5, and has 10 wounds. So on the face of it, she's very similar to the Glaive, Wraith, Stalker in that respect. In terms of a stat line, she's a little bit faster. Only 10 wounds, but toughness 5, 145 points. She only has a range 1 attack, and she only has 3 attack dice, but she's strength 4 and does 2 and 4 damage, and there's no particular rune marks. 2 and 4 damage means that this model reliably does an amount of damage. You don't have to get 6s to do anything. Sometimes you just need to be able to kill a chaff model to clear it out of the way or something, and that's one of the real limitations. I felt this warband lacked that, so I can see adding a few of these to my force. They're also gorgeous models. A cursory glance at this stat card says that it's essentially the same. I'm not seeing any changes. Perhaps on closer inspection as we play them, maybe that is true. But yeah, I think that the models that come in this set, as well as the stat card that we get for the Merman Banshee, I think they're a real upgrade to the warband, and I'm looking forward to seeing them on the table. The channel I'm going to recommend to you this week is Brush and Quill. Brush and Quill as a channel tends to be hobby updates that he does fairly regularly, once a week or thereabouts. The 2 main areas of interest he has at the moment is Napoleonics and Drop Zone Commander. He does a lot of other 10mm as well. He's been around for quite a while, and he's a great supporter of other YouTubes. His stuff is quite different to what you might have seen before. Check him out.
Hi, I'm Cal from the Brush and Quill channel, and this is just a quick intro to what I do. I flip between lots of different projects. I'm like a butterfly, but this year I'm trying to stick to 3 main projects. First is the 1809 battle at Talavera. I'm doing the German division, which contained 5 German states and the Dutch. I'm painting up a Hessian regiment at the minute. I also do fantasy 10mm. So here's some elves on the desk. They're going to end up being in chariots. And I do Drop Zone Commander, which is also 10mm. So that's what I do. I do what fire and forget videos, so there's no editing. It's literally just like this, me talking and showing stuff off, though usually this is not on screen. Pop over, give us a check out, see if you like it.
The last segment for you today is Demon Princes from Team Clueless 40k. Tell us about the next one, Mike.
So, next up was where they brought out the plastic Demon Prince kit. I decided I had to have one of those as well. I painted this up in a green, so generally use this as a Nurgle Prince. This one's got wings, which is obviously how you see most Demon Princes now. This isn't a bad model per se. It doesn't quite have the character of the metal one, and a lot of people don't like the sculpting of it. It's got very kind of like sculpted abs, sculpted arms, and because there's so many of them, they seem to look the same. So many people field multiple of them, and even though the kit has multiple build options in, the torso, the legs, everything like that is all the same, and the wings are always the same. So it's not a favourite kit of many people, but I don't mind it, basically because I've only got one of it.
Don't forget to check out Friday, when we will be releasing our Cruel Seas unboxing with the Blundering Bishop. Okay folks, that's all we've got for you this week. I hope you've enjoyed some of the content, and remember, stay home, stay safe, take care of each other, and thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share or subscribe this video, and if you are buying new games or new miniatures, please consider following our affiliate link to Wayland Games. It gives us a little bit of kickback and helps fund other projects for the channel. Thank you for watching.